G'day guys and welcome back. No machining this week, sorry. The wife and I are heading off in the morning to the Australian Manufacturing Week in Melbourne. I wanted to go to the one in Sydney last year, but I just couldn't do it. So we're going this year to the one in Melbourne, which is apparently meant to be a bigger show. We're heading, today is Monday, we're heading down in the morning, and we're going to be coming home Friday, so maybe a good few days away, and yeah, we both need it. So I've been doing a video every week for a long time now, and just need a bit of a spell, so I won't be taking the camera. I'm not too sure if you need a film down there or what the go is, but I just want to have a few days away and have a look at some new tools and see if I can sweet talk the wife to bust open the purse strings a bit. It's going to be an adventure on its own, but we can only try. So what I want to do this week is show a few gifts that have come into the channel over the past few months. Now, a couple of them you've already probably seen in videos that I've used them, and there's a couple that haven't come into the videos. Listen to that wind. It's blowing its ring off. It's been bad all night. Anyway, I've got to make a 50 taper arbor at some stage, maybe, if I can work out how to do it. And so some tools that I've brought are going to help possibly make that arbor. So anyway, I'll get some gear over here that what guys have sent in. Okay, these turned up in the mail a few weeks ago and absolutely blown away. I've always looked at these and never been able to afford them or find a good set in Australia. Since I've had these, I did find a mob that's actually making or importing them into Australia. What they are is a planer gauge. So I 3D printed some boxes for them and put some felt stuff in the bottom. These are absolutely beautiful. They also come with the extensions if you want to, you know, use them. So absolutely mind-blowing that someone spends their own coin. You're probably going to hear that a bit. Someone wants to spend their own coin on me. I don't expect it, I can tell you that, but the generosity is absolutely amazing. So these are going to come in very handy. So there's a pair of them. I haven't showed them yet on the channel, but I'm sure over time they will get some good use. So thank you to the guy who sent this in, who did ask to remain anonymous, and I respect that. I was absolutely blown away when they arrived in the mail, I tell you. I want that lid go back on, because it goes on that way. And the 3D printer's been getting an absolute flogging lately, as you can see. Still got some longer ones to make up, because I did find with this table, you put your pen down or put a drill down and all of a sudden you hear a tinkle tinkle and it's gone through the gaps and on the floor. It's the only downfall to this table, hence why I've been making up some infills for it. Well, I think I've spent more time picking shit up than I have actually putting it on the table. Okay, I showed in a video a while ago making this arbor for the annular cutter that was sent in. The guy who sent this in wanted to remain anonymous as well, so he sent the 50mm one in with an MT2 arbor to go with him. It's getting bad. So as you're aware, I made an MT3 arbor. So in the post a few weeks later, these arrived, the push pins to go through them. And then a week or so after that, he sent a 60mm annular cutter. Just out of the blue, just turned up in the mail. So I haven't had a chance to give this one a crack yet, but it is, yeah, it looks absolutely beautiful. So they are going to be very, very handy in the future. So thanks very much, mate, really appreciate it. This next one was sent in by a mate of mine. Not too sure if he wants me to mention his name, so I won't. He's gone to the trouble and put my name on the box as well, burned it in. It's one of them optical centre finders or edge finders that he had spare. So I was talking to him one day and he said about edge finders, and we were talking about them on the phone. He said, "Oh, I've got one here, I don't want it, I'll just send it." So he did. And I've used it a couple of times off camera and it actually works, but I found you've got to actually spin it. You can't just leave it stationary. And then I found if you just have it spinning in the spindle slowly, it's pretty accurate. So thank you very much, mate, for sending that in. Going to get some good use, especially when I get a bigger mill. Hopefully the wife watches this. Okay, I have showed these before, these sign bars, and I've used the 4-inch sign bar numerous times making Morse tapers. I decided to go ahead and buy the whole set because one day they will come in handy. The reason I bought them is every time I've used a sign bar to make a Morse taper, it's been spot on accurate every time. I've never had to readjust the compound to get a perfect fit. It's been spot on every time. So I've bought everything from the 3-inch to the 6-inch. You can see the difference in sizes. You got bubble one, dull popper one. So absolutely beautifully made, and they work. They're accurate. They make setups really, really quick. So I think they're a brilliant idea. Someone like me who's pretty queer when it comes to mathematics, I think they're great. They are brilliant. Oh, and the other thing that Jim does, which I know you are all probably aware of, you put these cards in here and if I can get it out, it gives you all, instead of having to use trigonometry, he just does it all for you. You know, every time I've done a Morse taper, I use the chart, it's spot on. So when I done the upgrade to Trent's bevel square and I built the stainless sides on it, I used the mill to put the knurl in the side of it, the 45-degree knurls. So I used this, which is what is called a vice mate from Tangent Engineering. So it's all ground, parallel, dead set true. Just it sits in your vice, your mill, and you can rotate your vice around. Use a sine bar with your gauge block set in the middle, and you can accurately set your vice to any angle. So actually there was no need to use this when I done Trent's bevel square. There was no need to use it, but it was a good opportunity to use it. And I set the 45-degree angle, worked really, really well. It's just another tool to make setup a lot easier, and that's why I got it. So if you're interested in these, go and check out Tangent Engineering or Tangent Jim, and we'll set you up. Now I know I have definitely shown these on the channel, and it still blows my mind that I've got a set. I don't know if everybody's seen the video when I showed I had these, but what happened was I'd ordered a new pair of boots and they turned up in the mail. Anyway, the missus has come round to the workshop and she said, "Oh, you got a couple of parcels." I said, "All right, eh?" And I knew the boots were on, they were coming. I got a message saying the boots were coming today. And I said, what do you mean a couple of parcels? And she says, oh, there's another parcel here, it's really heavy. I said, I haven't ordered nothing. She goes, well, you bloody bought something. I said, well, I haven't. Anyway, we opened it up, and an anonymous viewer had seen me using the sign bars and using drill bits and feeler gauges as gauge block stacks. So he's gone ahead and sent a brand new set of metric gauge blocks. And I've mic'd a lot of them, and I've used these quite a few times, and I can't fault them. They're absolutely beautiful. The finish on them is just smick. They are nice. And again, I've looked at buying gauge blocks numerous times, but never had the spare coin to be able to do it. And this bloke just bought them out of his own pocket and sent them to me, and I can't believe it. You know, I didn't think when I started this hobby or started YouTube I'd ever get to the stage I'll be using gauge blocks, but it's come to the stage I have. And these are a bloody good thing. You know who you are, mate. Very, very, very appreciative. Okay, this next lot come from Craig, from Craig's workshop over in Tasmania. Craig and I often text and ring each other, ask each other questions. And he rang me one day, or he sent me a text saying, have you got, or can you use these cutters? I said, I could, but I don't have a 50 taper arbor to run these for the Cincinnati. Yeah, that's something I'm going to have to make somewhere in the future. Hence why the sign bars. The only issue I have on the lathe I've got, I don't have enough travel in the compound to cut the 50 taper in one crack. I'm not a fan of having two stabs at the cut as far as you can, then you've got to readjust everything to finish off the length of the taper. But I may have another tool coming to be able to solve that issue. So one day shortly I am hoping I can make a arbor for the horizontal side of that mill, and then I'll be able to use these slab mills. They are sharp, I'll give them that much. There's nothing wrong with them, and there's a good variety. This one here I could have used when I made the winch. If you remember, I made the ratchet wheel. I seen this and I went, if only I had this a few months ago, this would have been so bloody handy. So Craig, thank you very much for your generosity, mate. It means a lot. I look on Gray's online, which is a big auction mob here in Australia. I look at Pickles, another big auction mob. And when these big engineering joints close up, you know, they sell everything. But you watch the auctions and it gets down to the last hour of the online auction, then everything just goes for nuts. You know, there's just, you think you've got a crack at buying that lot, and all of a sudden the price has gone through the roof. Old mate's got the shits because another fella's had to bid on it. So he's upped his bid, doubled that. And before you know it, the price is out of control. You may as well go and buy some brand new stuff. So I've never had any luck with auctions. So Craig, thank you, mate. Really appreciate your generosity too, and all your help when I ring up with stupid questions. And I send Craig a message, or I ring him up, say, dumbass question, can you help me? He's always there to help. So thanks, mate. Righto, the last gift that come in was this from me mate Trev. Mate, these things are absolutely shit hot. I like them. Every night when I'm finished, I go around, probably vacuum the floor 4 times a day. All the machines are cleaned before I go in of a night. And having this swarf picker-upper, it makes life easy. It's quick, and you're not grabbing handfuls of swarf. Because I've got a bit of a bad habit of that. It's probably why I've always got nicks and shit all over my hands. But this thing here, you just scroop it around over to the bin. It's in the bin. Job's done. So thanks very much, Trav. You know, you've seen me use that quite a few times when you've been here, and absolutely love it. Righto, so that's the end of all the gifts that have come in. Now the video last week when I made this part, not this part, the one that's already in use, had a lot of excellent comments saying it was a good idea making it in 2 pieces and it'll work no dramas. Now the guy who welded that part together it was a guy that's been around the logging industry as a mechanic, boilermaker. He's been around forever and a day. That part I made also went to another chap that does hydraulics in town here. It was shown to him, unbeknownst to me, but knowing that was happening. That guy went over it with a micrometer, apparently went right over it, couldn't fault it, and he said he would have done the same thing. He would have built it in 2 pieces because I didn't have the material to make it in 1. He reckons it was a great job and couldn't fault it. So I don't know, it's up, yeah, you make your own mind up whether it's going to fail or not, but I don't believe it is. When the guy picked this up, he said, as he was leaving, he said that I'm possibly going to have to make 1 more. So if you guys want to see me make another one, but I said I wasn't going to make it in 2 pieces like the last one. I want to make it as a whole, as out of 1 piece of material. If you guys want to see me build one of them, if it happens, then leave it in the comments whether you'd like to see it or not. Like, I know you've already seen 1 built, but if you want to see another one, let me know. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't believe the one I made will ever fail. Especially knowing the bloke that welded it together. I don't think it'd be any drama. And they did weld it up. They bolted it to a plate. They welded it, left it overnight to cool naturally, and apparently it didn't warp 1 bit. So anyway, that's the story behind that. Well, again, I want to thank everybody who sent stuff into the channel and everyone who's left comments on the videos. It's been absolutely awesome answering all the comments, even though it is getting harder and harder the more and more that's coming in. But I do enjoy doing it. So I do apologise there's no machining this week, but that's just the way it goes. And we're going to enjoy a good few days away. The kids are staying home. They're old enough and silly enough to look after themselves. And yeah, it should be a good few days away, and it's going to be good to go to this expo. And if I can sweet talk the wife, I might come home with another suitcase full of tools. It's going to take a bit of doing to sweet talk her, I can tell you. Wish me luck. Anyway, thanks guys. See you next week.